clinical neuropsychologist with the Early Supported Discharge program in Calgary, Alberta. In this video, I'll talk about how to promote self-care and psychological resilience during tough times. Self-care and resilience are important whether you have lived experience with heart disease or stroke, if you're a caregiver, or if you're a family member or friend simply wanting to learn more. There are several reasons why I want to talk about resilience today. First, we know that changes in mood and emotion are common after any medical event. According to the 2019 Canadian Stroke Best Practice Recommendations, between 20 to 50% of all persons with stroke experience post-stroke depression, anxiety, or apathy, in addition to concerns with fatigue and cognition. While not everybody who has had a stroke develops a mood disorder, most people are faced with new challenges and may experience difficulty coping with changes in routine, roles and responsibilities, or the way that they're able to function. Research tells us that psychological resilience is an important predictor of better mental health outcomes and improved quality of life after medical events, including heart disease and stroke. So taking steps to promote resilience also helps us deal with the general ups and downs of life so that we're better prepared when we're faced with a challenge. So what do we know about the factors that promote resilience during tough times? Resilience refers to coping well in extended or adverse events and situations. So having resilience is important to emotional wellness after a stroke or medical event, but it's also important when faced with other life stressors, things like job loss, divorce, death, natural disaster, or the COVID-19 pandemic. Another way to think of resilience is mental toughness. It's important to remember that everyone has resilience and everyone has the capacity to grow this skill. While biology and environmental factors determine some of our responses, psychological resilience can be learned and developed. Like any skill, it's a matter of how much and how well you put it to use in your own life. Getting through pain, distress, and uncertainty about the future isn't easy for anyone. Resilience helps us face challenges and navigate bumps on the road when life feels unpredictable. The very first step to emotional wellness and building resilience is self-care. Self-care means taking good care of ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Self-care can be easy to overlook, especially when life gets busy or stressful. However, ensuring basic self-care needs are met is the first and most important step in coping with tough times. As you listen, take note, are there any self-care activities that you may need to change, add, or adjust? So going through our list here, the first basic of self-care is keeping a manageable, consistent routine. This includes keeping times and a schedule for waking, bedtime, meals, and medications. It also means building in breaks to manage fatigue. Routines are important because they provide a sense of predictability when things feel uncertain, and they serve to remind us that not everything in life is unpredictable. Self-care also includes eating a healthy and well-balanced diet. Food we eat can directly impact our health by influencing blood sugar levels or levels of certain hormones in our systems. Diet can also indirectly impact our mental health in that how we feel physically influences how we feel mentally and emotionally. It's important to limit or avoid excessive caffeine, alcohol, or other substances, particularly as these can interfere with sleep or recovery. The third point, sleep hygiene, simply refers to developing healthy habits that promote restful sleep quality and duration. In our fourth point on physical exercise, we know that maintaining exercise and leisure activities is important in promoting sleep, mental well-being, and improving interactions with others. Ideally, try and do exercises that are enjoyable to you, realistic with your schedule, and that can be maintained on a regular basis. If you're not doing all of these self-care activities, don't worry. Learning and adding in new self-care activities may be one of the very first steps you take toward building resilience. In the next slides, I'll review 5 key resilience skills. Remember that each of these skills can be learned and developed as you find what works best for you. The skills I'll talk about include managing thinking patterns, regulating emotional reactions, drawing on sources of hope and lived experience, using social support, and preparedness and planning ahead. Under stress, it's easy for minds to cut corners. We may see everything as black or white or assume the worst will occur. Managing thinking patterns is important because the way we think directly influences how we behave and how we feel. There are different ways to handle thoughts that may be unhelpful or overwhelming. One trick is to try reframing or changing an unhelpful or negative thought to a positive fact-based thought. For example, on this slide, the unhelpful thought, "If I take a break today, I will never recover," can be reframed or changed to a more positive thought that reflects true facts. Taking breaks will help my brain get the rest it needs and will promote recovery. If your thoughts about a situation or problem are overwhelming and you don't know where to begin, try breaking the problem down first into chunks or steps and develop smaller, achievable goals, giving yourself time to work towards them. Another way to build resilience is to manage emotional reactions in a proactive way. This simply means a focus on accepting and processing feelings rather than becoming overwhelmed and shutting down. People feel distress when we think too far into the past and make unhelpful comparisons, or think too far into the future in times of uncertainty and change. One way to regulate emotions is to bring our awareness to the present moment, or the here and now. It's not so much about fighting or changing feelings, but accepting them as they come and go and keeping focus on the present. Strategies that help focus on the present include deep breathing, mindfulness exercises, paying attention to the environment immediately around you. Earlier I mentioned that everyone has resilience, and this is where drawing on hopes and lived experience comes in handy. Often we know that what has worked well in the past will work well again. So take a moment to think about, what are the skills you've used to cope with past challenges? Make a list of the ways you've been resilient in your life, the strengths you have, and any new skills that you'd like to add or develop. It's also incredibly important to find and maintain sources of hope. Having hope provides mental energy and steers goals in the direction of recovery. Even small hopes, such as focusing on a task you did well today, they can help build confidence and momentum toward recovery. Supportive social connections can also help build resilience after a medical event. Support networks will vary from person to person, but may include family, friends, colleagues, community, faith groups, or other connections. One tip is to look for role models in your life and community who you feel demonstrate good resilience. Think about, what do they do well? Adopt the strategies that you see them use and try it out. Social support can also come through formal opportunities such as Heart and Stroke Foundation webinars, local stroke support associations, and learning from other peers with lived experience. The final aspect of resilience I'll discuss today is preparedness, or planning ahead. Planning ahead involves being proactive and setting boundaries. Ask yourself, in what situations do I need to set boundaries? When do I need to say no? How do I plan to accomplish this? It's also important to have a backup plan for mental health. Just as most people have a plan for how and when they would contact their doctor should their medical needs change, the same level of preparation should be in place for your mental health. So think about your answers to the following questions. How do I know when I need to reach out for mental health support? What are the warning signs that my body, my thoughts, my feelings are giving me? The answer to this will be different for everyone. Also know, who will you contact for support? Is it a friend, family, therapist, family doctor? Write down your plan and any contact numbers, and keep this somewhere that is easy for you to find. So far, we've discussed some important ways to promote resilience and mental wellness after a stroke or medical event. But what about coping with other challenging situations? The good news is the same resilience skills and strategies in this talk are almost always useful. No matter what you're facing, try taking a step back, check in on self-care, and reflect on what strengths and strategies you already have and those you'd like to develop. Writing down this information can be a helpful way to look back on progress and to remind you of your resilience if there comes a time that you need that in the future. Finally, if you're doing what you can and you still feel overwhelmed, please reach out to family, friends, or a medical professional. Remember, everyone already has some resilience skills in their pocket, and asking for help is a great next step to developing these further. As we wrap up this talk, I'd like to leave you with 3 key takeaway messages. First, building self-care and psychological resilience are important ways to promote mental wellness and quality of life after a stroke or other medical event. Remember that these same skills can also be used in other challenging or stressful situations. Everyone has resilience, and everyone has the potential to further develop their skills and to change how they cope with tough times. Try using the strategies in this talk, including self-care, managing thinking patterns, managing emotions, drawing on hope, experience, and social connections, and planning ahead. This concludes the talk on basic steps to self-care and psychological resilience. I hope you found this information helpful in learning ways to promote mental wellness. If you have questions or concerns or are struggling with mood changes after your stroke, please reach out to your physician or medical professionals on your healthcare team. Further information, including links to the Canadian Stroke Best Practice recommendations, are listed on the resources page.